I thought that I was good enough, but I was not. Like, what else do I need to do to pass it? Like, I've done everything I could. I was really heartbroken, and I thought that maybe I'm not really that good, or it's not really for me. Hey guys, it's me again, Nikki. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my IELTS story as well as some tips for each subset of the IELTS exam. Just a disclaimer, I'm not sure if I'm qualified to make this video because for me, I feel like I never really passed the IELTS exam. Let me tell you about my story so that you will understand what I meant about that. I booked my first exam in April 2015 and I did a self-review during that first attempt. Let me just say that I underestimated the IELTS exam. So I did not give my 100% in preparing for the exam. But during my first attempt, I already downloaded some Cambridge PDF files. They have online reviewers, and I practiced with the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. However, I did not have someone to check for my essays. It was not really a formal thing or a formal review, and I thought that that was okay. In my first attempt, my results were: in listening, I had scored an 8. In reading, I scored 7.5. In speaking, I scored 8, but my writing was only 6. Since I was also pressured by the thought that after passing my interview, I have to comply all of my requirements within 6 months so that I could be deployed here in the UK. That's why after I got my results, IELTS results, I booked another IELTS exam in around July, I think. Yeah, July of the same year, 2015. This time, I had asked a friend of mine to refer me to an IELTS reviewer. I wanted to work on my writing, so I wanted someone to check for my writing output. I had an arrangement with that person, and our arrangement was that I would write my output. I would strictly write my essay within an hour. That's writing task 1 and writing task 2. And I would time myself. And then after that, I would type my output in a Microsoft Word and then email it to him. And per output, it was 75 pesos. And I thought, yeah, it's okay. It's not that much as long as I could improve my writing and I have someone to check it, like really check it and give me advice and tips, and also tell me if I'm doing everything correctly or not. So I did that for a month. I think I did that for a month, and slowly I was getting more confident with my writing, and he helped me with my structure, the structure of my essays, so that it is not chaotic, it is very organized, and the whole essay is relevant to the topic. Yeah. And then came July, I took my exams and I was confident. Like, I told him how I answered it, how I structured my paragraphs, what was in my paragraph 1, 2, 3, and so on, what was in my introduction and my conclusion. So he told me, yeah, you did great, you did well. So I was really happy about it, and I felt fine after the exams. But then 13 days after, I was very devastated when I found out that my writing was only 6.5. So my scores on the second attempt was listening is 8.5, speaking and reading was 8, but then writing was 6.5. I remember I found out my results while I was working, and my fiance, he was the one who looked at my results online, so that since I couldn't do it while I was at work. And then he called me and he said, like, you had really great results for the other subsets, but unfortunately you only got 6.5 for the writing. And it's a good thing that I was almost done with my shift, because I was really crying while I was in the hospital, and some of my colleagues were like, what happened? Were you crying? I was very disappointed, and I talked to my tutor, the one who checked my writing, and he said that he could not believe that I had 6.5 because my writing was really good. And I weighed my options if I'm gonna take the IELTS exam again, or if I'm gonna have my remarking. So at this time, I had a different offer in my hometown. It's a government unit, so it was a really good offer than my current employment at that time, I mean. So I was thinking, I prayed, and I asked Lord that I'm gonna apply for a remarking, and if He will give me the passing score that I need for my UK application, then I will be for UK. But if He will not give me the marks that I need, then UK is not for me. I will give up my application. So that was my deal. That was what I prayed for. And yeah, I applied for a remarking, and I think my results came out October. I'm not sure about the timeline, but it's still 2015. Yeah, around October. And it was still 6.5. So I said that, yeah, maybe it's not time for me to come here in the UK, or maybe I'm not really for the UK. That's why I gave up, and I applied for the government unit in my hometown. I was really heartbroken, and I thought that maybe I'm not really that good, or it's not really for me. I never really thought about applying again in the UK. Since I've been working in a government unit, it's a freestanding dialysis center. I was not working in a hospital. So I was thinking that I was not qualified anymore. And also the offers would be for ICU, PICU, NICU, wards, medical surgical wards, and I don't have any recent experience for that. But came in 2018 when I've read about my old agency's post that they are hiring for renal nurses. I emailed them my resume. Like, I kid you not, just within 5 minutes they called me and said they will add me to the list of applicants for Imperial College. That is my current trust right now. And I said, it's been 3 years since I've worked in a hospital. Is that okay? Or am I still qualified? And they were like, yeah, no problem, since you're applying for a dialysis unit anyway. So, and since you are working in a dialysis unit, then you are qualified. And I was like, yeah, okay. And they set me up for the appointment, for the interview and all that. And then I passed. So I was like, oh, here we go again. I need to book for my IELTS again, need to study again. So I looked for another tutor. This time, she was an IELTS examiner. I will not mention her name, as well as the test center that she is working for. However, by that time, last year, when I took the exam, they were not the ones who will grade your papers anymore. The changes was, instead of them checking for our writing output, they are gonna scan our writing, and they will send it to either UK or Australia, and the examiners in the UK and Australia will be the one to check them. So that's one change. That's why she was confident to teach me, because I guess it's not really cheating, because she's not the one who will check my papers anyway. She was the one who taught me. I did the review for 2 months, and every day I studied really hard, and I was more determined this time that I would want to pass. And I took the exam November 10. Yeah, I took the exam November 10 last year, and my results came out November 23, I think. Yeah, that's 13 days after, so November 23. And still, I did not pass my writing. So I was really crying because I thought that I was good enough, but I was not. Like, what else do I need to do to pass it? Like, I've done everything I could. I gave my 100%, I'm sure of that, and I prayed really, really hard for it. But still, I got 6.5. And my listening was 9, my reading was 8.5, my speaking was 8, and my writing was still 6.5. My results came out November 23. However, in November 25, 2 days before that, I've read on the NMC website that on November 28th, they're planning to have a deliberation wherein they would discuss if they are going to lower down the requirements for the writing subsets in the IELTS. So they were contemplating if they could lower down the writing, the needed writing score to 6.5 instead of 7. So the listening, reading, speaking, they would still require a 7. However, they would accept a 6.5 in their writing. I prayed like, Lord, if I'm not good enough for a 7 on my writing, just please let them lower down the writing score requirements. And so November 28th came. I remember it was midnight, and I was really browsing for the NMC website, and I was thinking that if the meeting took place on that day, then maybe it would take a few days before they could announce the results of the meeting. But then no, at 28 midnight, they posted on their website that they would now accept a 6.5 in writing. So I was really happy. I was like, maybe this is for me. Like, it's my time to come to the UK. So here I am now in the UK working as a registered nurse. So my tips. I could give you my tips on the listening, reading, and speaking. I'm confident in those 3 subsets. And I could tell you what my mentor told me about my writing. And mind you, she was really, really good. I did appreciate everything that she said, everything that she taught me. And yeah. For the listening, my tips on the listening. What happens in the exam is that I'm not sure if they will give you headsets now, but in my last year when I took the exam, it was really big speakers at the front of the test room, and it was really clear. It was loud and clear, so there's no problem with that. So you just have to get used to listening, to understanding the words spoken in a British accent, in an English accent. So what I did was watch movies and without subtitles, so that's really important. And I watch it over and over. Like, I listen I listen to the conversations, to the dialogues over and over. I would also recommend for listening that you listen to audiobooks. I've never done it before. I'm just into audiobooks now. There are lots of audiobooks, and I would recommend that you would listen to those narrating or reading in a British accent. They have audiobooks for Harry Potter. That's the only thing I'm listening now. I'm not sure about what else. But yeah, you can find that over Google. And for the reading, what I did for the reading is I read BBC News every day. I read for an update, and I would try to understand the new words that were used in an article or in the news, and I would search for it in a dictionary, and I would try to understand it and try to use it in my own sentences. And during the exam, I would not recommend you to read the whole article because you don't have enough time for that. What I did was scroll, look at the questions, and then look at the keywords. So whatever they are trying to ask you in the questions, scroll over the article and look for those words. Most often than not, those paragraphs containing those words contains the answers. So yeah, that's what I did. And for speaking, I did talk in front of the mirror and watch my expression, how I deliver my words, how I construct my sentences. And it might be weird, but it would be very, very helpful if you would record yourself. That way you could watch yourself at the end of the video and try to critique yourself. Like, if your sentences are correct, your grammar is correct, try to check if you have a natural flow when you speak. And what I was told by my mentor, since she is an examiner, so she also does the speaking exams. So her tip was, don't mind too much about grammar because they are not strict when they assess your grammar in the speaking test. Although you should have correct grammar, but they are assessing you with how you converse in English. If you are comfortable with the language, if you could communicate clearly, you could communicate properly, and if you could express your thoughts well during the speaking exam. And the writing, what she said to me during our final meeting was that you should be natural with your writing, because I remember, I cannot forget this, she does not understand why I'm getting 6.5 with my writing when I could get 8 for my speaking. And I told her that my problem with writing is I'm pressured to use new words, I'm pressured to construct complex sentences because I feel like my writing is very basic. And she told me maybe that is my problem, because I want to make my sentences complex and use uncommon words, my writing would sound unnatural. She was saying that my level is like this, and when I try to use complicated words, it would come up and then back down again, back to simple sentences and words, and that is unnatural. That is not good to read. So she advised that maybe I should just write what I think. Like, don't think too much about the words, or don't pressure yourself in using uncommon words and constructing complex sentences. Just write whatever you think, or whatever you think that answers the question during the writing. So those are the tips that I got from her. And even if technically I did not pass the writing, I hope that you could still give credit to my advice in the writing. I hope. But yeah, with regards to listening, reading, and speaking, I've had good marks, and I'm pretty confident with my advice that I've given you. Okay, that was my IELTS story, and those are my tips for the IELTS exam. So if you are watching this video, I hope that you will be successful in your journey wherever you want to go. I hope that you become successful, and just pray, like, no matter how much effort you give into, it is not possible without God's help. So yeah, that would be all, and I hope my story would inspire you to do good in yours, to not give up if you really want it, and if it is destined for you, if God has planned this for you, then you will surely get to the point or reach your dream, whatever that might be. Okay, thank you again so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.